It's Kayla from Sailing Away with T&K, and welcome to cooking time. Today, actually tomorrow, we're going to be making red beans and rice. But one thing you have to do before you make red beans and rice is soak your beans overnight, because you want them to it kind of rinses them off, it gets them going, it goes ahead and plumps them up so you know how big they'll be. So always the night before I start red beans, I soak them. So we have just a pack of Blue Runner red beans. This is a 2-pound bag. This is what I normally use if it's just me and TJ. So normally we make a 1 pound, but I have my family coming over to have dinner with us tomorrow night, and we want to have some left over for lunches this week. So we went ahead and got a 2 pound. But for tonight, I just want to go ahead and open this up.
Now, can you use any type of red bean? Like any brand? Any
brand of red bean is fine,
okay.
Yes. You do want either a glass or a plastic bowl with a lid, because these are going to sweat. So like when I take the lid off in the morning, it's going to be full of moisture. So it doesn't matter if it's glass or plastic, just make sure it has a lid. So I'm going to pour these in here. And then I am simply going to fill this to the brim with plain cold water.
Now, do you need to leave a little room in there just for the swell of water?
No, they won't get bigger than the lid allows, but they will. They're gonna plump up. Like when I take the lid off, they're gonna be right there. So they will plump up, and the water tomorrow when I go to pour it off, it's gonna be really dirty, just because beans have like a film and like dust on them. So this is all I'm going to do tonight. I got it filled, and I'm going to snap this all the way on. And you'll probably notice when you come back to it tomorrow, this will be like domed over because there's so much pressure in there. You can check it later, and you can kind of let some of that air out, and you'll start noticing, like tonight before we go to bed, they're going to start doubling in size. So you can see them in there. So you see there's some water, but they will eventually fill up all the way to the top by the time I open them in the morning. So in the morning, I will dump off all this water and get everything put into the crock pot. So I'll give you a full list of ingredients in the morning when we're ready to start. But this is crock pot dish. This is real easy. All you gotta do is soak it overnight and then let it cook tomorrow.
Here you go.
Morning guys, welcome back to Cooking Time with Sailing Away with T&K. So last night we put our beans in water, and you can kind of see the lid. Yeah, they're totally to the top, and the lid is like bulging. So that is normal. That's kind of what you should see. So I'm going to open the lid. Because this was so many beans, this was a 2-pound pack, they've pretty much absorbed all the water.
So do you have to really drain it?
There's still some water in there.
No, would you put the top kind of partially back on?
Just kind of, look.
Oh yeah, it's nasty.
It's nasty water. Bean water. So if you're using a 1 pound, they're not gonna soak it all up like that.
Or you could just use a bigger container too, correct?
Yeah. So we got a full pot of beans. Now because you pre-soaked them, they're not gonna get any bigger than this. They're just gonna start to cook.
Okay.
So here's our list of ingredients that you're going to need today. So this is 2 pounds of beans. Because I'm using 2 pounds of beans, I used 2 links of sausage.
And you use Hillshire Farm.
This is Hillshire Farm smoked sausage. You do not have to use sausage. You can use tasso Tasso, and it comes, it's like a little thing like this, and you put the whole thing in there and it kind of shreds. You can use ham chunks, like
little cubed hams.
Yeah, like the little cubed hams. I've used that. If you're making this near a holiday, like when you've purchased a honey baked ham, you can put the ham bone in there and use like leftover ham from that.
Could you use chicken? Probably.
You probably could. I've never used chicken. I usually stick with either the sausage, tasso, or ham.
So more of a red bean and pork type?
Yeah.
Okay.
Other things, you're going to need some, this is what we use in the South, Tony Chachere's. This will be something similar to Slap Your Mama, or it's just an all-purpose seasonal. I have a big thing of chicken broth. This is 48 ounces because I'm doing 2 pounds. If you were only using 1 pound, you would probably just need the regular size. And then I'm going to need some olive oil.
Right.
And then all the other things you need is just a little time.
Okay.
Beans have to be cooked low and slow. So this is not something you can rush. We like to do ours, like I soaked them on a Saturday night, and they're going to cook all day on Sunday for like Sunday supper. So I'm just going to pour my beans into my crock pot. So you see they kind of fill it up. And next thing I'm going to do is pour all of the chicken broth. You do not have to use chicken broth. You can use regular water. To me, the chicken broth just adds flavor.
Because you have to use liquid. You can use like any type of like chicken broth, whether it's like a beef bouillon, a chicken bouillon cube, or
right. Like if you want to use water with a bouillon cube of chicken, that's fine. The only thing is, if you just use plain water with no type of seasoning,
it's gonna taste horrible.
Well, they're just gonna be a little bland. And in fact, I might have to add a little water because not all the beans are covered. Ooh, you already got that turned on.
But why don't you get...
Yeah, I'm going to add just a little bit of plain water because it's barely covering the beans right now. So not much. I mean, I don't want them swimming in juice either. That's about good. So that's maybe like 1/2 inch above the bean line. Okay. He's up. Next thing with your seasoning, I just like to do a layer all on the top. Like such.
Yeah.
I don't usually measure it, so I can't.
Yeah.
I just clean layer on the top. Then I'm going to put my sausage. And then let me get a spoon out so I can kind of stir. Just want to give this like a quick little stir. Kind of move some of that sausage to the bottom. Yeah, so you need a little bit of that extra juice just because by the time you add the sausage, it's gonna increase. And then the last thing, this is a Cajun thing. Some people put butter in their beans. I've always done it with olive oil. And again, it's like a quick little layer across the top.
That gonna help everything kind of keep separated, I take it? Kind of like what we do with spaghetti?
Yep.
Okay.
And that's it.
Okay, so how long?
Cover. It is 9 o'clock on a Sunday morning. We're going to put these on low. And these will be ready by about 5 or 6 in the afternoon. So this is, like I have put these on before school in the morning. So like 6 in the morning, and they cook until 6 the next evening. So low and slow, I would say at least 8 hours. up to 12 hours. This is not something you can do on high.
No.
Like this is a
Low and slow.
It's a labor of love. It's just gotta cook. You don't really need to stir it throughout the day. Like I'm probably not gonna touch it again until about 5 o'clock. Around 5 o'clock, I'm gonna come give it a stir and kind of start mashing some of the beans on the edge, because that kind of gets some of the juice in there. And I'll see if I need to, depending on how runny it is, I might add some cornstarch to make them a little thicker.
Oh, like the slurry we talked about in the spotted pork video?
But I would video all that for you. So it's 9 o'clock in the morning. I am not going to touch it until 5 o'clock this afternoon.
Okay.
And that's it. Low and slow. Go to church. Have a good Sunday.
See you later
and your beans will be ready.
All right. Bye. We're good.
Hey guys, welcome back. So it's 5 o'clock. The beans have been cooking since 9 a.m. I have not ever lifted the lid, so like you're about to see for the first time what I'm about to see. If you see in the background, I have some rice going on, and I'm about to make a cornbread. So I'm waiting on the oven to preheat.
Now, what brand cornbread do you use?
This is Jiffy. And I just threw the box away, but it's just, I use 2 of these honey cornbread mix.
Some different.
Follow directions on the box.
Usually we like the jalapeno, but they were out.
So my parents are coming over about 5:30. So about 30 minutes before you're ready to start eating, this is the process that needs to happen.
Woo!
Yeah, look how rich that color is. So I'm gonna give them a little stir. Okay, now this is a trick that my dad taught me. With your spoon, you want to take some of your beans along the edge and you just want to mash, and you see how it made like, that's going to help thicken. I mean, obviously you don't want to mash all your beans, but you do want to make the water a little starchy, because this is too thin, honestly. I'm going to have to thicken this up with some cornstarch, but I'm going to do a little bit of mashing on the side.
Okay. Now, when you do I need to put the cornbread in the oven?
Yes, for 25 minutes.
Okay, I'm going to keep the camera on you and do this.
So I'm just mashing. Now, because this is thin, I'm going to thicken this up a little bit, because red beans and rice should not be this thin.
No,
it should be more like pasty, kind of. So I've done some mashing, and you can kind of see some of the mash particles coming in there now. And it's already helped a little. So to make this a little bit thicker, I'm going to take some cornstarch, cold water. And
cold water's the trick.
Yeah, you have to do it with cold water, and you have to do it in a separate cup and then pour it in. Yeah. So I'm going to do just about 2 spoonfuls. Don't really have to measure, maybe 3.
That's about, I would say do that.
Do what I want.
Yeah, no. I would say I've done too much. You can't do too much of that. Trust me, I know.
So with the cold water, you're just going to kind of eyeball it. We'll start there. It's going to look thin, like it doesn't look thick, but it will thicken this up a lot.
And you want to make sure you blend it perfectly or it'll chunk up in there, correct?
Yeah. Well, don't do it in the, like I've tried putting in my earlier cooking years. I just put direct cornstarch in there.
It clumps, and next thing you know, you're just pouring it out.
Yeah, so it has to be, it's gonna look runny. Like when you look at it, you're gonna be like, well, what is that gonna do?
Yeah, but it's a chemical reaction is what it is.
Magic.
So
kind of see the consistency that we have now. I'm gonna pour this in.
And you want to spray it out as you pour, correct?
Yeah. You can already see it started to thicken. Now, the reason we're doing this 30 minutes before is I'm still going to keep it on low, and I want to cover it for that last 30 minutes. Now, when I come back to it before it's time to serve, you're going to notice a definite change in the thickness. You can already tell, like, it's not as liquidy as it was, but the more it cooks, it's going to thicken up a little bit.
May recommend if the amount you did maybe a little bit more cornstarch.
You told me it was enough.
Well, I was wrong. I was wrong. Trent James Bryan, admitting I am wrong right now. Yes.
Okay, we're gonna add a little more. We're like almost out of this.
Well,
for the grocery store list.
Well, add next week's. Nothing we need for this week. Rest of the week.
That might be all of it.
Well,
That's it.
well, is what it is. And the main reason you use cornstarch for other things, you can use bread.